I guess we're just gonna go with it.
Oh,
there we go.
The gram is good though.
Yeah. So we have to call out the elephant in the room, which is that we missed Thursday because we were in a class.
No, Friday.
And we missed Friday.
We didn't miss Thursday.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We were in that Zoom class. Zach forgot already. He just forgot about you guys. He just forgot.
I forgot about you.
So
not you, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're back.
So earlier we were in the kitchen. I'm like, Sierra, let's think of a good topic to discuss today. And
what'd you decide?
I was sharing on my personal Facebook wall about. It's funny, you hear like this idea that consistency compounds, and inconsistency crumbles just as fast. And
I would say faster.
I know, not just as fast, faster. It falls apart just as faster. And then I also was right. I was doing some writing this morning, and I ended up not posting this, but I saved it for. Do you ever do that where you're writing something and then you're like, you know what? I think this needs a little bit more TLC. I'm gonna mark this for later.
Not so much TLC. Sometimes I'm like,
Rebecca, you're
sometimes way up on the I know you always say that. Sometimes I don't want to use it. Sometimes I just want to get it out. It's just words I need to get out. Sometimes I have no intention of. And then sometimes I have the intention of just getting my words out. Oh, maybe that could offer somebody something.
Well, what showed up for me, and I'll tell you, I was doing some writing this morning. Which was really nice. It's sunny here in Washington State. We're getting some nice weather, so I went out on the deck. It's with these beautiful trees in the backyard with that phenomenal humming. I love that sound.
The hum of the road.
The hum of the road.
If you close your eyes, it sounds like the ocean.
Anyhow, doing some writing, and I was realizing that so the healthier I've gotten, or like with when I've been able to finally break the decade-plus long habits of poor health, just automatic habits that you just do so much, and after a while it compounds into some really big issues. And a lot of my biggest health in my life has been due to, I would say, a habit, but habit in the form of a gluttony habit. It's it's not always let's say you have like a 4-ounce glass of wine every night. That's not going to cause massive health issues. But if you have a half a bottle or a bottle of wine every night, that's going to that gluttony combined with the habit. For me, not for everybody, for me, that's been one of the biggest, almost every single major issue I've ever has been because of that. So I realized, so
the overconsumption,
but it's also an automatic habit.
Right.
So I break those. And what's showed up for me when I was writing this, I was like, it's clear the air. What's left typically? There's a sense of that's why I came in and I'm like, what's the word for it's humble, but it's also like a when we reflect on our marriage, we're like, wow, humbled, but it's also a sense of awe. It's like humility, a shame, because of man, that was I've reflected a lot on I'm at exactly where I'm at, a series of actions that happened over and over and over and over and over again. Choices. And I realized for me, I was living a life I can have all these options, no regard for the impact of oscillating between options. I'll choose something, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this now. And so I was living having infinite options was possible. But but then nothing really. There was nothing sturdy was built out relationally or health during that period of time, and it got me thinking wow, isn't it kind of a miracle that we're even still together sometimes, or I'm also still alive sometimes? I think about some of that. Needless to say, when I cleared the air, what was present for me was this feeling of this, I guess, radical responsibility of choice, and the gift of choice, but the power that it comes with, of everything. Once you actually
It keeps like going crazy.
What?
Sorry, it's very distracting. Just can you turn it off?
Well,
Or
look at my eyes.
but it's literally vibrating the whole table. It goes up, it's like bzz, bzz,
You gotta lean back.
bzz. It's loud.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's me is this sense of like radical responsibility of like, wow, like it's like you start to realize that you're in your present moment, whether you like it or not, whether it's better or for worse, based off of a series of decisions or choices you've made over and over and over again. But it's also kind of amazing and profound. It's like how many times we're like, well, if this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be here right now. And I think there's a way to like, I got to be careful about that because like, there's a lot of times where people haven't made their decisions that intertwined with my life that have blessed me. But I think it's just the sense of like, it's a sense of like, I think honest kind of cleared for me. So I think when I got healthier, you just start to realize how much freedom you really have when you actively choose everything you're doing in your life. And I think a lot of the source of my suffering was like almost like trying to constantly navigate like all these things and we're kind of going through it. It's interesting. I wish I would pull up my phone and try to do that would take too long, but I think what I was pretty good. I'm like, this is turning into a novel. Like I went to go write like
That's
a
what I'm
short little
saying.
share.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you end up sharing more than you thought. You're like, oh, maybe I just personally needed to get that out.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. You ever do that?
Yeah, I just said at the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, when
thanks for listening.
No, do you ever do that? Like, do you ever do that? Like for me, I don't do that a lot. So for me, I'm like,
I write all the time.
so you probably have pages and pages. You probably have a novel throughout your life of things you've written that eyes will never see.
Maybe one day. Sometimes it's like the conversation with myself, the conversation with God. That's like the only time it's quiet for that you can clear enough to get it out and write it into words on paper. As it's like as close to like a thought as you could possibly be because it's
I'm more
very
in the camera here.
it's very hard. What? Oh. It's very hard to think a thought and write a thought down while thinking.
Correct.
So for me, that's what that does for me.
I went out and sat down, and I had that experience where I was like tempted to. I ended up playing just like this like Hertz music, where it's like, ooh, you know, like,
Yes, the neighborhood could hear it.
No, Chamberlain one, it's different.
We could hear it with the door.
It was so quiet. I think it must be the vibration. I should be careful at 7:30 in the morning.
Loud. So everyone, the neighbors woke up to. They're probably like, "What is going on?"
How'd it go?
You know exactly.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
You have a glow too.
Thank
What's
you.
different? Is that the sun kiss?
That must be the sun. It must be the vitamin D. I have no idea. But I am. Yeah. So is that what you wanted to share with your?
Well, what I would offer is sometimes taking things away is how to see more.
Taking things away.
Removing layers of things like habits. I think about habits. It's by definition. You know, I don't know the definition of a habit would be too, but it's like something you do habitually over and over and over again. But if you think about all the habits you do consistently over and over again, it's like they layer. And so you have, let's say you have this habit, you have this habit, you have this habit. So you have more bunch of more micro habits. Time for more possibility to occur that the ones that are serving you. And I think for me, when you really, really look, you can typically remove like not all, but for me, like 85 to 90% of the things I do habitually. And at any given point, taken away and replaced with something else. Not that they should be, but they could be, and it wouldn't be a detriment.
Yeah. I think important to notice too is when you get into something that's so automatic, sometimes it becomes more ritualized and you feel like you actually have to do it.
Mm.
A good example of that would be for some people if they go on certain vacations that they take every year, or they're hanging out late, and there's something that their family always does, is those things are more like rituals, and they feel like they have to do it, they're gonna be out of the pack or out of the tribe or something, and so those are really hard to navigate, and if you do enough habit work in your smaller habits, serving larger purpose or goal of whatever it is that you're after for a short period of time. Like, I feel like when people set goals, they think of them as like, I'm going to have to do this forever. But the point of a goal is that you're going to hit it at some point. And so, therefore, that piece, you're like right in the night with all
No,
your little
you're
papers.
speaking wisdom. I want to take some notes.
Just
I
like,
want to take some
right?
notes. I'm like, I got some
Yeah,
gold
but
right
now I
here.
lost it. Like paper in the mug.
It's
I don't
not.
even know what I was saying
It's not
now.
my fault you're going to church.
No, now I don't even know what I was saying. That was rude.
Okay.
Okay,
Habits and rituals.
so I don't even know what I'm saying.
I was kicking out. Stop. I was in growth mode. Growth mindset. I was like, I got to take this down.
Selfish mode. Let me stop listening.
Okay, let me pile on to what you're saying. I think it'll spark I think it'll spark your genius.
Oh, okay.
It tells to me is like and maybe there's more to unpack here on ritual versus habit, but you get watch out for the stories you tell yourself on the habits you live. Because you live your life as a story, and a lot of times the habits I know when I have these habits, I'm up to enrolling myself that those habits are needed. And it's no different than happy hour at the end of the day. Like, no, I do this because it does because notice that because is that's where the story kind of gets looped in. We that's what kind of attaches us to a lot of our habits and our
Well,
rituals.
because rituals will make you feel guilty for not doing them. And so if you're with your family or and you're on a traditional vacation that you always do and you always go to a certain restaurant, you always have those certain things. That's like idolizing something that if you have a goal or something is like countering that
Good distinction
or antithetical to that, that it will make you feel wrong. And so the point of a goal is because it has a beginning and it has an end. You hit it or maybe you don't, and then decide if you want to play again, or maybe you work with somebody to make changes, whatever it is. Now, the tricky part is that it's much easier to identify those things third party than it is when you're actually in them. Because again, rituals, you feel like over them when you don't do them. If there's something antithetical to what you want to be doing or you're like going for. And and the temptation is you negate the temporariness of it. Like, because in the moment you feel like if I don't have if I don't have this at my family Christmas Eve, it feels like forever, but it's really only a small moment. And if you just do it this one time, okay, I had a conversation with a client a couple days ago, and it's summertime, and she like wants all of these things that aren't in her nutrition plan yet.
Yes.
And we were just talking about her goals, and it was like, well, you know, there's this opportunity to move through this, learn some things, push through, learn all of these things about yourself while you're getting your results. There's also this opportunity to have those things you want, and it's going to take you a little bit. And if you want to assume that, then that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. What there is to notice though is that you may do two summers of that versus the ability of just doing one, just like doing the dang thing. And so it's really just taking a piece of responsibility and noticing when like when people will keep self-sabotaging, keep self-sabotaging.
That was present for me yesterday at the barbecue, just knowing that there'll be more opportunities like that.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing, like, yesterday for Mother's Day. I've got really, like, big nutrition goals right now for this 29029 event, and I'm really not wavering. I wanna be sure that I did every single thing possible that I could, and part of that is keeping my body right, and there was favorite, like, Costco chocolate chip cookies or, homemade cupcakes and a homemade tres leches cake and, like, all of these things.
That's so good.
And it was like, could I have a bite of that and it not totally throw me in, like, off of my physical or, like, the way I felt? Yeah, totally. But it more of the integrity, upholding myself to my word with my coach, with my clients, and knowing this isn't the only gallery, it's gonna be more Mother's Days. I've had a cupcake before, I'm not gonna die if I don't have this specific cupcake. I mean, even at church, there was macaroni cupcakes for moms and all these things, and it was like, I'm not gonna, like, freaking lose it if I do this thing. Or
Well, it's also it's fleeting.
Yeah,
It's fleeting
it's like
too. When once you're gone, it's like, oh well, then that moment. I mean, there's
Yep.
yeah, it's worthwhile. I think also what you're referencing too is like in our workshops we kind of showcase the repetitive nature of our stories that we live into, and there's this attachment to how we know what you're sharing. I think is what we all experience is we don't really know ourselves that way. Like with Christmas, like it's kind of to our who we are or how we've known to operate, and once you kind of strip that away and you just see it for what it is, there's such possibility that kind of arises there, and we've seen that in our relationship too. Like there's times where like in fact, there's probably like an opportunity to do that again. Almost like a not a challenge, but like just like it's as an inquiry for us in our relationship. Like what are those repetitive dances that we have together?
Oh, you not knowing me to, like going outside
Yeah,
or
just
hiking
yeah,
or
in terms
something.
of our relationship, like and then notice what doors close and why doors remain open, why doors are opening versus also why doors have never appeared to us as possibilities of how we function as a married couple based off of the story that we're both
Or
attached
the
to.
resistance to even ask a question, like, "Would you ever consider
Like we
taking writing lessons with me?" And it's like, "What?"
If you asked me, I
'Cause
would say no. Just so
Right,
you know.
but I'm just saying, if I had the
Yeah.
story I'm saying that I can ask that question if I feel like I know the answer, because by not asking the question, I am deciding that I don't know the answer.
For me.
Or I'm deciding that I do know the answer for you.
Yeah.
And that's the mischievous place to live when you live your life not asking things or not doing things because you know how someone's gonna respond or answer. That's mischievous.
You said something yesterday about that.
You have about 1 minute.
You said something about yesterday about that with like maybe it was like Sweden, Iceland, or you're like, oh, I live like oh Shelly was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah, I can
definitely have.
definitely live in, like,
I was like,
Iceland or Norway
I
or
was like,
something.
really? Maybe I'm projecting you because I think there's a part of me that like longs for that, but I think I really would do it if there's like a major condition there. Have
People you
a
know.
small group of people that I related to and I liked being with that brought me joy and friendship, and then I'd be all I don't need the city life. I'm not even really a city person, but I do like the neighbor life,
Community.
the community. But I also want the ability
And arguably
to have
get
that. Arguably, you get more there, but so I'm all when you say that, I'm always like, it kind of is up on.
You're like, "Are you moving to Iceland?"
Well, it's well, just locations like that.
I don't
But
think you actually can. I think
but if I'll be very honest, it's very confronting, and this is if I want, this is something that I think people should consider is when your partner, when you share something that's like I'm like, oh, it's confronting, and I find myself wanting to sabotage it because I'm like, well, now it's actually fully on me.
places
So
I could
so
live Paris, Iceland, Norway.
Okay, and we're not going there, by the way. But I'm saying, but consider we're not going there, by the way. Consider, and this is for me too.
Okay.
Looking at the mirror, that take that and then shrink it down a little bit for a specific topic, like going for hikes or bike riding or other hobbies.
You really have like 3 seconds. I gotta go.
Or other hobbies. And I noticed myself being like, oh shit, like because you're okay with it, now that puts the responsibility. I can't use you as an excuse because how many times are like, I would love to go camping, but you know your mom. You know your mom, but
Yeah, that's great. That we can write about that, but I have to
Oh
go.
yeah, we have to go.
Okay.
All right. Well, see you then. I'll see you another
I hope you guys
time.
have a great day. Sorry we had to end. Bye.